And had it there for a minute. Well, false start. Okay. All right. All right, I'll start that over. Welcome, Planning Commission members, staff, and guests. Multiple staff members are here today to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly and all applicants and members of the public are able to participate in the meeting at the appropriate times. If you are here today and would like to speak about a case, please provide your name clearly into the microphone, and please be sure to sign in either at the back of the room or at the podium for documentation purposes. If you're here today to speak about a case, you must speak up when the chairperson calls for public comment.
We'll have roll call. Mr. Causey?
Here.
Mr. Cone?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Hart?
Here.
Ms. Marshall? New Planning Commission member? Mr. Osorio? And Ms. Thomas?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, I'll give a brief meeting overview. Applicants with requests before the Planning Commission are allotted a presentation time of 10 minutes. This time should include, but is not limited to, an overview of the project, case history, and any pertinent meetings held regarding the request. This time also includes all persons presenting information on behalf of the applicant, such as attorneys, engineers, and architects. The time limit does not include any questions asked by the Planning Commission or staff regarding request. During the public comment period, members of the general public are given the opportunity to address their concerns in intervals of 2 minutes. After the public comment period, applicants have 5 minutes to respond. The administrator has a timer and will make presenters aware of when their time has expired. The Planning Commission reserves the right to amend these procedures on a case-by-case basis. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Item number 3, Annex 2024-0008, 15.98 acres, northeast side of Old Percival Road, 8441 Old Percival Road, and 1.5 acres of south side of Old Percival Road is deferred. That's item number 3.
All right. The Planning Commission uses the consent agenda to approve non-controversial or routine matters by a single motion and vote. Examples of such items include approval of site plans, annexations, and street names. If a member of the Planning Commission or the general public would like to discuss an item on the consent agenda, you must speak up after the consent agenda is read. Then that item is removed from the consent agenda and considered during the meeting. The Planning Commission then approves the remaining consent agenda items. Will staff please read the consent agenda?
We have the approval of the March 14, 2024 minutes. Annex 2024-0007, 4012 Farrell Road, TMS number 11606-0527, which is a request and recommendation of the assignment of land use classification of Urban Core Neighborhood Activity Center, UCAC 1, and the assignment of Zoning Neighborhood Activity Center Corridor, NAC, for a pending annexation. The property is currently zoned mixed residential, high density, and zoned GC by Richland County. Under major site plan review, S Plan 2024-0003, 500 block of Spears Creek Church Road, TMS number 28800-01-03, which is a request minor site plan approval for the construction of a car wash, Tommy's Car Wash. The property is zoned planned development within the Wood Creek Farms plan development. And then item number 5, site plan 2021-0018, 17.78 acres, east side of Cliff Kinder Road, south corner Wind Lane, TMS number 19100-06-09 and 08, which is a request for site plan approval for the construction of a 308-unit multifamily apartment development, Burnside Farms Apartments. The property is zoned planned development.
Are there any planning commissioners here that would like to have any item removed from the consent agenda? Are there any members of the public that would like to have any items removed from the consent agenda for discussion? All right. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the March 2024 minutes and the consent agenda.
Thank you. We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
All right. That's going to take us to the regular agenda, which is a text amendment 2024-0002, which is a request to amend the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 17, Article 3, Zoning Districts, C17-3.7 Overlay District, G, OVID, Innovista Design Overlay District, to remove the modification of height within the 300 feet of the OVHP Historic Preservation Overlay District. And I believe Hope is going to state the case.
All right, good afternoon. I will just quickly go through the case summary on this, which you'll find in your packet. And you could see in your packet as well the exact language that is proposed to be removed here. In the ordinance itself, it's the strike through with the red where it says or the OVHP district. That's the text that we're referring to here. And also, as of note, there was some correspondence that I passed out before the meeting from Mr. Jim Daniel that was not included in the packet regarding this case. All right, moving on to the case summary. So the base zoning district predominant within Innovista Overlay District is mixed commercial, which does not have a maximum height requirement. And the purpose of the MC district states, flexibility from conventional use and bulk requirements is provided to promote urban density and mixed uses within a pedestrian-oriented streetscape. The OVID overlay regulates the design of structures through design guidelines whose purpose is to support the transition of the Innovista area to a walkable mixed-use destination. The district standards and guidelines promote transition from vacant and low-intensity industrial and commercial uses to pedestrian-oriented mixed uses with unified form. The overlay includes a provision that modifies the applicable regulation of building height within 300 feet of an historic overlay or a residential zoning district. Instead of what the base district would permit, it imposes a 75-foot maximum height. This proposal would remove the limitation for buildings within 300 feet of a historic overlay district, or OVHP district. The restriction for buildings within 300 feet of a residential district would remain as is. This amendment only affects only properties within the OVID district that are 300 feet away from a historic district. Note that properties within the West Gervais Historic District, which is adjacent to the OVID and the only one impacted, include an overlay, which is the OVHSV H80/30 overlay, which restricts building height to 80 feet. Thank you, and if there are any questions, we'll take questions.
I have a few questions. That's okay. I think and forgive me for this, I hadn't had a chance to connect to discuss with y'all more, but in short, is this in response to a particular item we approved a while back or some example? I mean, I guess
So
I
just,
struggled going through this to really understand
yeah,
what
yeah.
the change was, what the purpose of the change.
Well, so just to note that the applicant on this is Mayor Daniel Rickenman.
Yep.
So I don't know if you want to speak any more to that, or?
I'm with Paris. I'm just unsure, is there a reasoning for this? I mean, if there's an explanation as to kind of what it is, that would be helpful, I think.
While I would be hesitant to speak for the mayor, I do believe that he has been approached by potential developments which this would impact. And so that's the reasoning for this proposal.
Okay.
So the 75 height limit would not be high enough. So there would be a desire to go higher than that, which most of the zoning outside of this area does permit.
Is there a limit on the height at all if this is approved? Or is it unlimited as to how high a building could go?
Yes, these districts, a large part of this area currently do not have a height limit. So it would revert to that, which is what the base zoning district currently permits, which is no height limit. So what happened is within that overlay, there's a small part of parcels, that is subject to this 75-foot height limit.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one other. So the only, just to make sure I understand it correctly, the only change is striking that if it's next to another historic district as defined, but not next to residential.
That's correct, because the Granby Historic District is residentially zoned and would that height limit would remain. And if there is a desire to have additional information, we're happy to bring that back to you. I don't believe that it is critical that it be heard tonight if there are additional questions. I'm sure that the mayor would want you to have that information.
Okay, thank you. I think I would be open to that unless there's additional public, some public input prior. Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who'd like to speak either for or against this?
I mean, I'm Jim Daniel. My inquiry to y'all is why, and then can we get more information and what neighborhoods are actually affected? Arsenal Hill and Olympia are two adjacent neighborhoods to Una Vista. Have they been notified? And then the other question I had, I guess, is this in response to the Trinitas case, which was on a student housing project by the law school with the city laws on overlay district stuff. So I'm with you. I'd like to defer it and find out what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just so we can make sure those questions are answered before the next meeting, Arsenal Hill would not be impacted, Granby would not be impacted, and no, it's not in response to Trinitas.
Thank you. Do any other members of the public have any comments either for or against? Do any commission members have any other questions?
So just, and maybe this is a discussion for the commission, but essentially, if it's already in effect for residential and it's only for historic, and this is only for the West Gervais Historic District, essentially this is just to allow the height requirement to exceed essentially in the Vista area, correct? And if it was not, as long as it's not 300 feet from a housing, from residential. So that's all this really is, right?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, so, does that staff agree with that? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Anyone else? I'm happy to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve zoning text amendment TA 2024-0002.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Do we have any, looks like we don't have any other business. Unless you.
not.
Okay. No? All right, another hard day. That's it. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.